That's why Richard Petty is here today.
So I'm pretty sure most people watching this are aware of what happened this past weekend. There is some controversy surrounding the fact that a noose was found in Bubba Wallace's garage at Talladega this past weekend. Now, Bubba Wallace has been at the forefront of racial equality in this sport and diversity in this sport and has really taken a stance over the past couple of weeks. And NASCAR has done a great job of showing that it does not condone any form of racism in the sport. It does not approve of any hatred in the sport. And yes, I know that NASCAR has a racist history, just like the United States of America does. In the past, they have been a bit more passive about identity politics and racial inequality. They haven't really taken a stance on it. And that's why I think they're in the position that they're in today. So let me just give a quick recap of what happened. So Saturday night, I get news that they found a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. And I think as I was getting this information, I was at work, so it actually kind of pissed me off because I couldn't stop and get more information until hours later. But my initial thoughts were how could somebody do this? And I'm glad that my first thought wasn't well, of course. Instead, like I said, it was how could somebody do this? And I say that because the culture in that garage is what you've seen in response to that. They don't take racism lightly there. So now that everybody has pretty much seen this picture, and the FBI has done a thorough investigation, they have concluded that yes, this garage pool, the one out of the 11 total found in over 1,600 garages for NASCAR, the only one tied into a noose was in fact a noose. So let's just get that out there. If you don't know what a noose is, it doesn't always mean that it's meant to threaten, or it isn't always meant as a racist threat. It's simply a knot that is tied so that whatever object is at the bottom of it will weigh it down and it tightens on its own. Here is a picture of a noose. Here is a picture of the noose that was found in Bubba Wallace's garage. They're pretty much identical because they're both nooses. Now, the FBI also concluded that this was not a hate crime. It was investigated as a hate crime. So that means that they looked at it in the case that it could have been one, and thankfully it wasn't. Now, I'm sick and tired of seeing everybody in the comment sections or even on my pages saying that this was a publicity stunt done by NASCAR or that Bubba Wallace had anything to do with it. First off, Bubba Wallace didn't even know about it until after. He hadn't seen the news. He wasn't the one that walked in there. A crew member of the 43 team, Bubba Wallace's team, walked in, saw the news, reported it to the crew chief. Crew chief told officials. Officials told executives. Executives got law enforcement involved. They had to say, okay, we're not used to seeing this. It looks problematic because we've also had to ban the Confederate flag. People are upset about that. We've got a flyover from the Sons of the Confederacy flying the Confederate flag over Talladega before saying defund NASCAR in a parade of 24 people protesting the Confederate flag. I'm not going to get into the whole Confederate flag business, but you can see how this looks like it could be a threat. Therefore, an investigation occurs. Now, the best thing that could have happened is that it wasn't a hate crime. And that is the best thing that actually did happen. So I'm very happy that NASCAR has taken all the steps necessary to at least investigate it and make sure that Bubba Wallace is safe. And oh my God, I'm actually kind of tired of the whole NASCAR is racist narrative. I'm sick of it. And I think NASCAR is too. It keeps going and going and going. But if you see how close-knit those guys are and how supportive they are of Bubba Wallace, that should be enough to let you guys know that they don't take racism as a joke. Everybody has a responsibility in how this all blew up. Everybody. You too. So, everybody reacted to this. Or the people that had anything to say, obviously it was a reaction. I didn't see too many direct responses. Now, the language that NASCAR used in their official statement may have given the inclination that it was indeed somebody that had done this. I mean, somebody actually did have to tie the noose, period. But whether it was racially motivated or done to intentionally cause anybody any harm, we didn't know that. But we kind of know that now, at least for this past weekend. But I feel like everybody can do a better job at discerning the facts, myself included, because I started to go there. I was like, I really hope that they get this resolved. And if it is somebody, then, I hope that this person gets ousted from the sport entirely. And I think that that's the right protocol. So the thing is, everybody has a responsibility in things like this. Everybody. So don't go pointing the finger at Bubba. Don't go pointing the finger at NASCAR. Don't go pointing the finger at the keyboard warriors, even though I do that too. But at least look at yourself. What information was given to you? And if especially you're not a NASCAR fan and you don't know what the garages look like, why did you take it so far yourself? Just ask yourself those questions. I know that if I had seen that picture of the noose, I probably would have believed the same thing. And I know that when I heard about it, I was pretty much in disbelief, but I was also upset that this was even occurring because I feel like anytime something would happen like this, it's a bad look on NASCAR. Like from the outside, everybody's like, they're not surprised. And I'm tired of that. At the end of the day, it's resolved, so hopefully we can just go ahead and squash it. We've got our facts. It was a noose. Was it used as a threat? No. That's all we needed to know. Moving forward, I'm sure Steve Phelps and the rest of NASCAR will figure out how they're going to handle nooses being in the garages in the future, and I'm sure they're still running their investigation to figure out how this noose was tied and why it was tied and by who it was tied by. So moving on to later things, Talladega, we saw Ryan Blaney win. It was a photo finish. You saw the, was it 1/1000th of a second margin of victory between Ryan Blaney and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We saw Chase Elliott's been out because of Joey Logano blocking him. That's gonna stir up that beef that's been simmering for a couple of weeks. And we also, I didn't get to see the big, I feel like there really wasn't a big one. I was I never want to see like Demolition Derby, but I was a little disappointed because I feel like I tell people like, yeah, there's gonna be a big wreck, so it's anybody's race at any other speedway, and then it was just like, just a few. At the very end we got like a one. But let's see, Chase Elliott spun out earlier on. Oh God, Jimmy Johnson, so close. Oh, looked like he was getting ahead, and let's not revisit that pain. Eric Jones hit the wall, which I think actually has a pretty decent shot this weekend at Pocono. Speaking of Pocono, it is the Tricky Triangle. If you guys don't know why it's called the Tricky Triangle, it's because it's got 3 different corners, 3 different straightaways. So you're looking at a very challenging racetrack. No circles this time. So, let's see. Who do I think will win? Given the fact that there is no practice in qualifying, I just have to kind of throw it up into the air and say Joey Logano. I said that yesterday because he's my driver, so it's not a terrible pick. Let's see, Martin Truex Jr. has had a win there. Kyle Busch is last year's winner. And he actually hasn't won a race in a while, so let's go ahead and just say Kyle Busch. Both days, I don't know about that. I think Ryan Blaney has actually won there before. If he did, that would be pretty awesome if he was able to get the win this coming week, at least at one of the races after winning at Talladega. That, I think, would actually really make him a championship contender. I feel like if he's won at Talladega, that should be enough, right? But how much better is it? I feel like that just gets, okay, he's a playoff championship contender, but I think that really, I don't know. I just feel like that makes it so much better. I feel like I'd be more confident in saying that if he were to pull off a win this weekend as well. Out of the sake of having first wins, I would say Tyler Reddick. He's been inching closer and closer. He almost got it. I would like to see the 24 car of William Byron actually win this weekend. He hasn't had his first Cup win yet. Jeff Gordon actually has the most wins at this track with a total of 6. I guess another notable win at this track would actually be Richard Petty, the King. I don't know if you can see. The King, Richard Petty. What was that, 73? 76? I can't remember the year. But he ended up leading the most laps. I believe it was a 200 lap race cut short to 192 laps due to rain. That's another big issue that we've been dealing with in NASCAR. So there is about a 36 to 38% chance of rain, light thunderstorms. I mean, 30, whatever in the 30s does sound pretty low, but this is NASCAR. And this past season, we have seen rain at almost every track. We've seen hail, we've seen rainbows. So that's something to look forward to. So if you're gonna pick a driver, I say pick one of the Titans. Those are the little track drive. If you haven't watched your first NASCAR race, I highly recommend that you tune in this weekend. The trucks are back. I am rooting for Austin Hill all the way. I'm always at the edge of my seat hoping to see him win. And we have back-to-back races. It's gonna be exciting tomorrow. I hope you're tuning in. Got 2 races tomorrow, 2 races on Sunday. Pick a driver or pick a number, put it in the comments. Hopefully you win. I have to say I am enjoying this new climate, or this new era of welcoming that NASCAR has put out into the universe. People are really responding to what they're seeing on TV before these races and what these drivers are talking about. And I think what helps is that people like me, like fans, are talking about it. People that watch this sport and try to learn everything about it and are very passionate about this sport. Those are the ones to watch. So go ahead and hit subscribe. I don't know if that's where it is. I'm just gonna take a guess. And follow, and you'll get updates whenever I post something up next.